The Blocktalk Podcast started because of my passion for the property management industry. I wanted to start a conversation and add some value within the industry with a diverse range of people and professionals who can add something extra. As we start out, my aim is that the podcast offers some useful insight into a variety of views, opinions, thoughts, and foresights from our guests, who include business leaders and industry experts. If you enjoy the podcast and want to find out any other information, head on over to brianwelsh.co.uk. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Blocktalk Podcast with me, Brian Welsh, and Jax Bruce. Jax, how are you faring today?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm always a bit affected by the clocks changing, and this morning I woke up at 10 to 8 rather than 10 to 7, so it was an absolute mad rush to get I've got 2 house bunnies, as you know, so I have to get up and tend to them and then get ready, and I was on the 20 past 8 train, so that is not bad going.
That's impressive. That's impressive. I was going to say I'm glad this isn't on video, but I probably shouldn't say that. If it's taking that amount of time you might want to cut that bit.
How are you doing? You all right?
Yes, I actually, to be fair, I think I'm pretty tired at the moment. I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still reasonably tired from it. But I had the same this morning. My alarm went off at 6, and then I was kind of sitting in bed watching the news at about 5 past 7, and then remembered I had my business coach at 7:30 and thought, oh, oops, I better get up and get going. But yeah, no, I'm all good. I'm all good. Today we're delighted to be joined by Paula Robertson, the first ever winner of the title of Property Manager of the Year, which was awarded at the PMAS Dinner and inaugural Excellence Awards on Friday, March the 11th. Paula is a branch manager and property manager at Trinity Factors in Aberdeen, where she has worked for almost 3 years. Prior to this, she worked her way to a senior property manager at James Gibb. Hello, Paula. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I have to say congratulations again. That was a great win, and there was much excitement on the night when that was announced.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a really good night, had by all, I'm sure.
It was. So did you have a sore head on Saturday morning?
Honest answer, yes, ever so slightly. Yeah, like I said, it was a really great night though. It was well worth the slight sore head in the morning, and we all had a really good time from our Aberdeen branch and our Edinburgh branch. There was quite a few of us there, and it was nice to see everyone though, because a lot of the time it's people you're chatting to on the phone or through email, so it was nice to put a face to the name as well. But yeah, slight sore head in the morning.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Well, when you win an award, you've got to
exactly.
do it. Yeah,
exactly.
Actually, that dinner is normally in the Radisson and not in the Central Hotel, and the Radisson bar normally stays up till I think 6 o'clock is the worst I've ever gone to my bed in the morning, so it's probably just as well it was in the Grand Central and the bar closed before the dinner ended. But yeah, it was a very good night. I actually had a taxi book for 1, so I was definitely not going to be doing anything mad that night. Okay, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So could you start by telling us how you got into this industry?
Yeah, of course. I think after listening to some of the other podcasts, like many people, I actually started off by pure chance. I was actually in my final year at Glasgow University, and I originally planned to pursue a teaching profession, believe it or not. However, that had changed as I went through university, and a chance of a job became available, which I applied for. I'm successful at James Gibb as a trainee property manager. So it was pure chance. At the time I was still studying for my final exam, so I think at the interview it was kind of said that I was in good stead to start off as a trainee and continue to kind of study and learn about the industry. And at that point in time I signed up for as many courses and seminars as I possibly could, just to put me in good stead. So like I said, it was pure chance that a job became available, and I applied and was successful. So, and it all kind of went from there.
Okay, so how did you move on from there? So that was Glasgow, and you're now Aberdeen. So
Yes.
they're not that far apart, but
No.
how did that all happen?
That all happened, well, like I'd mentioned, I'd started off with the trainee position and worked my way up to a senior property manager at James Gibb. And then just through circumstances, I was just looking for a change. And there was a position for branch manager, as well as being a property manager at Trinity Factors in Aberdeen. So I applied again for the job, was successful, and the opportunity became available. So at that point in time, I moved home, moved cities, moved jobs, all in one day. So that was a bit of a challenge, but it was well worth it, and I've enjoyed my time in Aberdeen and working at Trinity Factors as well. It's been really good.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time in Aberdeen in my younger years, and yeah, it's a fabulous city. It's a fabulous city.
Lovely. It's like a kind of smaller version of Glasgow, I suppose. That's the way I feel.
It's a good way to look at it, actually. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. So what does this award mean to you then? It's the first time it's ever been given out. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, the award itself, it really meant a lot. It means a lot. I was absolutely honoured even to be shortlisted. As I know there's so many other people out there that do the same job as me, and I felt the information that was provided, it was literally what I do on a day-to-day basis. And then to win, I was absolutely delighted. And I think just to have independent professionals judge the work that I do was of a high enough standard was just amazing. I couldn't really believe it, to be fair. So the award's now taking pride of place in the office. So it's been really nice to receive the nice messages and calls from some of my clients, and just to say congratulations. It's been really nice. So I was so nervous the night of the awards. I was that nervous I couldn't even eat my dinner. And the relief when I didn't have to make a speech was even better, let me tell you. So it was nice. But yeah, it means a lot.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I have to say I'm not one for public speaking, and we were lead sponsor at the dinner, and Crawford, our professional services director, who loves the sound of his own voice, got up to talk. Although I think some people say that about me as well. It was. To be fair, I was on the judging panel, and everyone was very, very impressed. I mean, some of the entries were just utterly phenomenal. So yeah, it was a great. We had a great time judging it as well.
That's great. Good.
So thinking about the industry, one of the things other people on the podcast talk about often is the kind of challenges they face within the industry. Because it's not an easy industry to work in, and we've spoken a lot about the IRPM survey over the years and these sort of things. But what challenges have you faced in the industry?
I think the diversity of the industry, I think no day is like another, which I personally found as a challenge to begin with, until I had the experience and knowledge where obviously anybody would gain confidence. But I did find it quite overwhelming at times to start with. There's a lot to learn, but I think if you have the right support and the right training, it'll give anybody the kind of foundations to build upon. I think the challenge as well, obviously, as you mentioned, I've moved from Glasgow to Aberdeen, and there was many challenges. Although it's the same industry, different cities and different areas, it was a challenge. I think even with the dialect originally, some people couldn't even understand me at first. And I was told on occasion to slow down, which I've managed to try and master now. But I think that, as well as managing expectations and just remaining focused and taking a wee bit of time out, I think it's kind of helped me overcome the challenges, because like I said, no day is like another, and there's always something different to tackle, which I think most property managers or anyone in property management will find across the board.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do understand the talking too quickly thing as well. I do quite a bit of business in England, and I get told to slow down all the time as well. Yeah. So I think it's a Scottish thing. Well, maybe
it must be. Yeah.
So in your career, has there been a project that's interested you the most?
I mean, I've been involved in quite a few things. I think most recently, I've been involved in some grant funding projects, which have been really interesting. I think working with the various professions, from the architects to the surveyors in particular, I've at the stage of nearly completion of a full regeneration project of a listed building in Aberdeen, which has been a lot of work, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the end results. And it's actually one of the largest grant funds in Scotland that's ever been awarded. So it's been really good to be involved in that. And like I said, hopefully that will be finished this year. So it'll be good to see that to completion. But that's been really interesting to work with.
That sounds fabulous. That sounds good. So if there's anybody who's trying to get into this industry or just starting out, what advice would you give to them?
I think that would probably vary on a day-to-day basis what advice I would give, to be honest. I would honestly say it's not for everyone. However, it's a very interesting career to get into with so many avenues that you can go down once you get started. I've found it personally, I've had to be extremely organised and very logical in dealing with things. And you really need to be able to think out the box sometimes, because you can never really tell what the day will bring. And I think working as a team, I've found really helpful. Just even calling the support of other people in the profession, even if it's just for a second opinion. That's probably the most kind of beneficial advice I would give. And obviously taking time to switch off is essential, although I think I should probably follow more kind of advice at times, but I think having the balance would be another good bit of advice to give to others who are thinking about property management as a career.
Okay, yeah, no, I can understand that. I have an inability to switch off ever, and I don't think it does me any good. So yeah, I can totally understand that one. I think it becomes more and more difficult as well, and working from home has made it even more difficult. I mean, I've always had a desk in my where I've lived, but I've never had an actual room that was an office. And now I have a fully kitted out office. It's just so difficult to escape it, because it's just so easy at 7 o'clock to go, oh, I'll just go do this, or oh, I've just seen this email coming on my phone, I'll go deal with that. I think you've got to be very strict with yourself to not do that.
I agree. It's difficult at times, especially when you're sitting at night and think, I forgot this, I forgot that. You need to take time to switch off. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting career to get into, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone that thinks it's maybe for them to try it. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but I found it really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So what are the plans or goals for the future then? So where do you see yourself going?
I've not really made any concrete plans or goals so far. I think just working through, like I said, obviously I've went from being a trainee property manager to senior, and now I'm looking after Aberdeen, which it wasn't planned. It just seems to have been the way, just the way things have worked out. But obviously winning the award has been a pretty good goal so far for this year. And I'm just kind of looking forward to what the future holds. And building upon that. So I'm actually getting married this year as well. So that's kind of taking precedence over anything else for the end of this year. So, but so far this year's been quite good, achieving even the award itself, which I'm delighted with.
I'm not going to expect you to answer this question, but there was somebody who mentioned to me that the award winners of this first set of awards would be on everybody in the industry's poaching list for people trying to poach people into other jobs. So I dare say you've had a couple of job offers as well, but we'll not go into that. We won't. But to be fair, I mean, it's an understandable thing, because there's a lot of movement. Well, you've been in the industry for a bit of time, but you've moved from one to another, and there is a bit of movement in the industry. So yeah, I can imagine that may have happened. But again, we'll not go into it.
So who knows?
Yes, you never know. Okay, thanks for that. Jax, do you want to fire in with your 3 quirky questions?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Paula. So at the end of the podcast, we ask all our guests 3 quirky questions, as we like to call them, and just to kind of get to know you a bit better. What's your biggest failure across your entire career, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, Jax, I'm not going to lie. These questions, I think, were the hardest ones. So the biggest failure, I would probably say, so far, I would honestly say leaving school when I did was one of the biggest failures. I had a job in an office during the summer, and I was kind of just used to working, had an income, and just decided I would leave school. And I didn't quite realise at the time kind of what the implications were and how much it would affect what I wanted to do in later life. So that's definitely what I would say would be the biggest failure so far.
Right, wow. So do you wish you'd stayed on? And
I do, yeah, because it came to the point where I thought, okay, I'm going to go to university, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to just, like I said, I originally wanted to go into teaching. I started looking into it. I never had the relevant qualifications and I felt as if I had to kind of start all over again.
Right.
So I felt as if I didn't have all the options open to me that I wanted, and I could have done it before. So I felt as if that was definitely something that was a failure. And I think obviously I hadn't looked at the bigger picture at the time. So I suppose I kind of learned not to take the kind of easy route, but I was certainly still young at the point in time. But I think now that I'm that good bit older, I've kind of looked back and realised, so yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing, I suppose, from school that you couldn't catch up on.
I know, I suppose,
now,
yeah.
You know, I guess so, yeah. And you've obviously done pretty well.
Thanks. Thank
taking
you.
this to move up to Aberdeen and all that as well, which is brave to completely uproot yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Cool. So if you ruled the world for a day, what would you do?
Well, do you know, there's so many things that I would do, but I suppose, again, from listening to the podcasts, with the recent events, with all these world leaders and getting them all together and kind of knocking our heads together would be one thing, I suppose. But this was another really difficult one. And I would possibly say that if I ruled the world for a day, I would make sure that every person had access to free healthcare and a place to call home. I couldn't imagine having to worry about that and being ill, and then obviously maybe not having a place to call home at the end of the night once your day was done. So I think that's probably what I would do, because I think during the lockdown when they arranged that for everyone, or they tried to arrange that for everyone, I don't see how they couldn't do that now. So I think that's what I would do.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Cool. Lovely. So when you're 70 and look back at your life, what will you be glad you did or feel proud of? Something you've either done already or something you still want to do?
Okay, so far, I would honestly say that when I graduated was one of the proudest moments so far. In my last year at uni, I'd moved house. I was helping my kids with their exams at high school. I was working full time and also trying to kind of finish my last year with my honours degree. It was really hard. My dad had passed away, and honestly, I didn't think I was going to do it. So the day that I was walking through Glasgow University, I had a mixture of laughter and tears, I suppose, when I was walking down. So that I would definitely say was something that I'll definitely always feel proud of. That's probably one of my proudest things that I've managed so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was really good.
No bother. I think it's quite difficult to talk about yourself sometimes as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but no, that was good. Fun. That was good as well. Thank you.
That's brilliant, Paula. Thanks very much for coming on.